Desmond Doss was drafted into the Army in April 1942. He wanted to serve his country, but electing not to bear arms, the Virginia native instead joined the Army Medical Corps. Assigned to the U.S. invasion of Okinawa, where deeply entrenched Japanese forces hammered American troops from caves and tunnels, Doss and his battalion were ordered to assault a jagged 400-foot escarpment overrun with Japanese defenders.
I'm sorry, Sergeant. I can't touch a gun.
You're a conscientious objector. You don't kill.
No, sir.
I think this is cowardice. You are free to run into battle without a weapon to protect yourself.
I'm gonna get you home.
Fall back! Who did this?
That's the coward. Help me get one more.
Hacksaw Ridge.
Welcome to the premiere episode of No Budget Reviews. Technically the second episode, because we lost the first episode. Low budget. Today we're going to be talking about Mel Gibson's new film, Hacksaw Ridge, instead of going after the British or the entire Jewish faith.
And then, as the officer arrested him, a tirade against Jews. Expletive Jews. And to Officer Me, are you a Jew? And
the Jews are responsible for all the wars in the world. Are those anti-Semitic words?
Oh, yeah.
He's going after the Japanese. Is no one safe? From Mel Gibson.
Not really. I would say that the beginning really bothered me. It was about 30 minutes of schmaltz.
Yes!
And I was just choking on that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy shit, man, pick this up.
I fell in love with you because you weren't like anyone else.
After about the first half an hour, we finally are introduced to our first battle sequence, which was fantastic. I thought, holy shit, I haven't seen battle sequences that rough since Saving Private Ryan. And it really captured the frenetic chaos that happens, I imagine, when the shit is going down.
I thought it was good. I'll agree with the schmaltzy stuff, because for the first half of the movie, I was like, how is this rated R? You know, it's like, oh, it's about good old boy trying to get into the army. I don't want to kill anyone. And then it's like, holy shit, that guy's leg flew off. The first half of the movie, it felt like a Lifetime movie. It's like him trying to get into the army, and he has this girl he likes who's a nurse. And then the guy, I remember there's a scene where they see these dead bodies. I'm like, okay, it's getting dark. And then the guy who you think is dead pops up, blood sprays everywhere. It becomes utter chaos. I'm like, oh yeah, this is the guy who did Passion. Okay, this is a Mel Gibson movie now.
I actually went into this movie not extremely excited, because I've never been a fan of any Mel Gibson movie that much. I have Faces of Death on DVD, okay? So I've dealt with violence in films. And I felt like at the end, I'm like, did I just get fucking PTSD? Like, at the end, I'm like, that was so intense. I was rolling my eyes at the beginning because I noticed all the Mel Gibson tropes. I saw the first shot of the movie was excessive violence. I'm like, so this is a Mel Gibson movie. And then, a lot of Christianity, but every problem I had, I was able to justify it eventually. I'm like, well, the Christianity is there because that was a real guy and that was his real faith.
And I tweeted that I cannot remember being more profoundly moved. It's because you rarely see authentic portrayals of people of faith. You know, there's usually something a little cheesy about it. And I know you fought hard not to get that into this picture.
No, I don't think it's preachy. It's just who the man was.
Yeah.
I think someone that's going to go very underplayed, and I fucking always love, is Hugo Weaving. And he was amazing in this movie. And he's not in it very much, but he should get an Academy Award for supporting actor.
Like you, I was not particularly interested in seeing this movie. I thought it was going to go one of two ways from the trailers. I thought either this was going to be generic World War II Oscar bait, or it was going to be just ham-fisted, propaganda-filled war film. I did not want to sit through another American Sniper. I had no desire to sit through another American Sniper, and that's what I thought this was going to be. And it really wasn't. There were elements here and there of it, but it does not get bogged down in it. I agree, in the beginning I was like, oh no, with the wife, and it's the most Hollywood cliche romance you could possibly have, and I'm like, oh no. But it starts to deviate pretty much when they get to boot camp. At first we have like this weird comedy scene, almost. You had these they weren't characters, they were caricatures.
Yeah, the different men in the platoon, I'm like...
They were all stereotypes.
It's like something out of Hogan's Heroes. It's like...
They subvert that later, but when you first meet them, they're all like, okay, this is this character, this is that character.
It's like, he's Hollywood.
I get it.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, it's like Top Gun.
Below the hard deck does not count.
Hard deck my ass. We nailed that son of a bitch.
Ah, you guys really are cowboys.
What's your problem, Kazansky? You're everyone's problem. That's because every time you go up in the air, you're unsafe. I don't like you because you're dangerous.
That's right. Nice, man. I am dangerous.
And then in walks the Full Metal Jacket drill sergeant. And I started laughing immediately.
I didn't know Vince Vaughn was going to
when I saw it was Vince Vaughn.
Who's the slimy little communist shit twinkle-toed cocksucker down here who just signed his own death warrant?
I had no idea he was in this movie. I had absolutely no idea. And I saw him like,
no
what?
idea. And the fact that they chose him for that character is like immediately, I was in the theater, I bursted out laughing.
Yeah.
I had no
but
idea.
It works.
He did a good job.
It works so
He was really
well.
good, and I don't like Vince Vaughn. He did great.
Because he purposely got a comedic actor because that role needed a bit of humor.
See, I thought with Vince Vaughn, I knew he was going to be in the movie. And then when he showed up, I thought he did a pretty good job. I have seen him do several dramatic roles, including True Detective, which I thought was a little bit out of his depth.
Right.
Well, I thought that he did a pretty good job overall, but I would disagree with the humor aspect. Band of Brothers had excellent casting with David Schwimmer.
Right? No, but actually, that was a comparison I made in my head in the theater.
Pornography, contraband.
But he played such a great authoritative asshole, and because they cast a comedic actor in that role, it's like, of course, no one has respect for this guy. He's an idiot.
Mike Myers in Inglourious Basterds. I remember everyone laughing at every word he had to say in the theater. It's like, he's not saying anything funny.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with German cinema under the Third Reich? Yes. Well, this little escapade of ours requires a knowledge of the German film industry under the Third Reich. Explain to me Ufa under Goebbels.
Let's talk about Hugo Weaving for a second. So I love this performance because he's hamming it up just enough where this performance
Because I feel like he was walking
level.
a very fine line. Like if he overdid it just a little bit, it would have been too much. But he did it just right.
See, I didn't think it was overdone.
No, me neither.
I thought it was perfectly restrained.
Yes.
Where he was like, the inner turmoil was like bubbling up.
Yeah.
And now and then he was like tearing up at the table, and you're like, shit, this guy is just seen so much.
Yeah, it's so believable.
So I actually thought this movie was not only very, very good, I thought it was close to being great.
Yes.
There were a few elements that I think held it back, and I want to get your takes on this. Probably the main one is the depiction of the Japanese soldiers, which to me didn't work in this movie. It worked in Braveheart because we're talking about how many years in the past, and it's like, okay, I can take this as, it's based on a real person, but I can take it pretty much as a work of fiction. When you get to World War I and you have these kind of cartoony, pure evil villains and you're depicting them that way, it didn't work, and it detracted from the ending of the movie especially.
I remember there's a scene, it shows, I think it's supposed to be the Japanese commander, he's taking off his shirt and it's in slow motion and he does hirikiri on himself, and then they cut off his head. And I thought, did we really need to see that?
No,
I mean,
it didn't have anything to do with the rest of the movie.
It's like I
that's
felt
not
like
what this
it
movie's
didn't
about.
really
I think
add
it was trying to
anything.
monstrosize.
It didn't really add anything to the movie, to the scene itself. It's just further showing how the Japanese weren't willing to surrender, and I feel like they already illustrated that.
I read a lot of history, and I'm very surprised that they haven't done more World War II films with the Japanese as enemies, because they were, and I believe, more vicious than the Nazis in the sense that they never surrendered.
Yeah.
But they didn't go into the culture of how shameful that is to their families and just losing in general.
Speaking of Mel Gibson, have you seen any of his interviews for this movie with his gigantic beard?
Yeah.
It's like Santa Claus
Looking
beard.
like a psycho, yeah.
Well, he has that beard because it's for a role in a movie that he's currently filming right now.
Obviously, before we start any interview, I've got to deal with the elephant in the room. When you talk about Mel Gibson, you know, there's one thing you think about, and that's your beard.
And look, you look a little different from the last time I saw you.
Yeah, I've let the fungus grow, you know.
Vince, your character comes up with some great nicknames as a sergeant. What is your nickname for the beard?
I've got to ask the question everybody wants to ask right away.
Yeah.
What's with the beard?
His interviews are very entertaining and fascinating.
I haven't seen it. I haven't had time. Who's got time to watch TV?
No, there's
I
no
don't.
time.
Do you? There's no time. I mean, who's going to watch this? Nobody. Might as well get naked.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
That's some popcorn.
Oh, yay! Yeah.
He always has these like weird tics and twitches, and it's just fascinating to watch.
He's a scary guy.
Spoke at my school, last year university, before he passed. So thank you for making, for bringing his story to the big screen in such an awesome way, guys. Thank you so much. Desmond Doss is our hero.
Say what you will about Mel Gibson, he knows how to make a movie.
I'd recommend it. I don't think it was excellent. I think it was a great step back to the directing role, but I'd recommend it. I thought it was very nice to see a film that showed a hero as an actual hero.
Yes.
There's a bit of victimhood, I think, in movies and the culture to some degree. And he's just like, this is my situation. I'm going to get another one. God help me get one more. And I'm like, fuck, now that's a hero. They broke the mold with that guy.
So I just kept praying, Lord, please help me get one more, until there was none left. And I was the last one down.
I'd say it's a solid World War II movie. It's a really good depiction of this man's story. It doesn't put him on a pedestal, but at the same time it doesn't sort of make him overly conflicted or anything. It actually does a really solid job of telling his story honestly, and it's a great return to form for Mel Gibson.
It's a really impressive film. I think it was an overall, probably, when you think World War II has been played out and then this came out, and it's probably one of the best World War II films, which is saying quite a bit because there's a lot of them.
Yeah, I mean, I echo the sentiments completely. It's one of the better movies I've seen this year. I fully expect it to get Academy Award nominations. I don't know if it'll be my favorite. It probably won't be. Yeah. I'm sure there'll be something else. But if you liked Saving Private Ryan, this movie is going to be up your alley.
Please, Lord, help me get one more.
You will not laugh. You will not cry. You will learn by the numbers. I will teach you. Now get up. Get on your feet. You had best unfuck yourself, or I will unscrew your head and shut down your neck. What's your excuse?
Sir, excuse for what, sir?
I'm asking the fucking questions here, Private. Do you understand?
Sir, yes, sir.
Well, thank you very much. Can I be in charge for a while?
Sir, yes, sir.
Are you shook up? Are you nervous?
Sir, I am, sir.
Do I make you nervous?
Sir.
Sir, what? Are you about to call me an asshole?
Sir, no, sir.
How tall are you, Private?
Sir, 5'9", sir.
5'9". I didn't know they stacked shit that high.